Hello YouTube and welcome to another one of my Duel Links videos. Now today I have for you an alien deck, and I know a bunch of people already made alien videos today, so you're probably all fed up. I definitely advise you guys to check out Playmakers and YT Dance versions. I think they're better than mine, but this is just my take on it. So obviously the boss monster for this archetype is Alien Overlord. You can it's a 1 tribute monster, but you can also special summon it by removing 2 counters from anywhere on the field, and you can place 1 counter on each face-up monster your opponent controls, which is really good because the effect of, you know, monsters losing 300 attack and defense for each counter that they have, it's really clutch. Now the important thing about this this effect, and I don't know if it's been mentioned, is that it stacks for all the monsters you control. So if you control 1 alien overlord and you control 1 alien telepath, your opponent is gonna lose 600 attack and defense per counter. So that's how the effect stacks. I'm not sure if that was understood, but you know, in case anyone had the doubt. So anyway, 3 of those, really easy to summon, really cool to ditch to the grave with recombination device. 6 counters on an opponent's monster is devastating for them. Most of the time they're going to lose all of their attack, and you know, the following turn you can use search whatever monster you need using recombination device. I really think 3 is a must in the deck, and I just really like this card. You could arguably run another alien telepath because his effect is really strong, being able to destroy a spell or trap card, you know, by removing an 8 counter from your opponent's monster is really clutch. But I always wanted to search for this card using cell recombination device. I didn't want to draw into it because drawing into it without a way of putting counters on my opponent's monsters, it doesn't really help me that much. But you could probably replace Alien Gray or even Crop Circles if you want to add some more telepath. We have Alien Warrior, which is the beater of the deck, you know, 1800 4-star. But it's also cool to suicide into your opponent's monster so that you put 2 counters on the monster, and if you have your brainwashing beam, you can take control of that monster immediately. So that's really strong. We have Alien Kid, which is going to put an 8 counter on all special summon monsters on your opponent's side of the field, which is really good. When you go up against special summon heavy monsters like Hazy Flame, Cyber Angels, you're gonna be putting a lot of counters on that. I like Alien Gray because you know, when all else fails, it's good to have it as a turn 1 set. You set the card, you get to draw a card when it gets destroyed, and you get to put a counter on you know, whatever monster you choose to. But like I said, if you want to replace it for telepath, that you can do that. I'm running 1 Mysterious Triangle. I only have 1. This card is really cool. You can destroy 1 monster on the field with an 8 counter, and then you can special summon a level 4 alien monster from your deck. You destroy it during the end phase. Being a quick play is so good because you can attack with a monster that you control. You know, if you happen to have 8 counters on it, attack with it first, then destroy it, and then attack again. So this can, you know, be a game ending. Another thing that I hadn't gone over because we haven't gotten to brainwashing beam is that once your opponent, once the monster that you took control of runs out of 8 counters, it goes back to your opponent. So another cool thing that I would do is if I was down to 1 counter, instead of giving the monster back to my opponent during the end phase, I would just pop it with Mysterious Triangle, get an extra attack, and then, you know, that way my opponent, even though I'm gonna lose it at the end phase, my opponent doesn't get that monster. Storm, so that we can take care of back row. A lot of times you'll have extra brainwashing beams, and you know, it's good to have. I have 1 Storm, one double Cyclone for that purpose. Being able to chain double Cyclone to cell recombination device is also pretty good. And then 1 tech Crop Circles. It's one of those cards that can help you end games, you know, the same way as this card, as I mentioned. But it can also help you summon the monster that you're gonna need right then. Like if you need to destroy back row, you can summon telepath. If you need to get over, that's, you know, 1800. If you can't get over something with alien or telepath, you can go into your warrior. It's pretty versatile. Running mind scan. This is one of those decks where I wasn't sure what skill to go for, and I built it on Pegasus. So I was like, let's just try mind scan. I didn't get to do a whole lot of testing. This deck did get like a 6-game winning streak, I want to say, because I dropped down to Legend 1 and then he got me back to Legend 2. But first up, we got a Mako. That new Mako deck is so strong, man. It's kind of a pay-to-win deck, but it's really, really strong. Hopefully I can make one at some point. Going up against 24 card Mako with Mystic Depths. We just see the Hammer Shark. So I go Telepath, turn 1, put 4 counters on the Hammer Shark. I mean 6 counters, I'm sorry. Get rid of the face down, which is a Windstorm, and that's completely fine. I have my Mysterious Triangle, so I can actually pop that monster if I want to. But instead, this was so funny. He uses the anti-magic arrows to get rid of my Telepath, but completely disregards that his monster has 5 counters, so the attack is gonna go down to 400. He's not able to destroy my monster, and he just wasted his anti-magic arrows. I get rid of the Floodgate right away. Go ahead and search my Alien Overlord with the the quick play. Remove 2 counters. Play around the Sphere Kribo and then destroy the monster during the battle step. Summon a warrior, and I can use OTK over a Sphere Kribo. Nice and easy, man. You can OTK with this deck so quickly, and that's why I wanted to go with Mindscan, so that I could go for the OTK in scenarios where there was some back row. I would pick and choose what back row to snipe away with the Telepath. We got a Kaiba next. "22 card. I think this was a weird deck. This was ninjas. Was not expecting that. I decided to storm away the back row, mainly because I had a backup recombination device, and I wanted to make sure I could search a monster next turn. So I just went ahead and storm away, my extra one. Luckily for me, when he uses Arm Ninja, he picks my trap, so I don't lose my spell. And then he tribute summons for Red Dragon Ninja, putting my quick play spell at the bottom of the deck, and that's completely fine. I have plans for that Red Armor Ninja. Go ahead and use my card, get an Alien Warrior, and the reason why I do this is so that I can Suicide into the Red Dragon Ninja, put 2 counters on it, activate my Brainwashing Beam, hit him for 2400, and now he doesn't have a monster, he doesn't have back row, so ninjas are in a really bad spot once you do that. I summon my Telepath, destroy the face down, and this is what I'm talking about. I can win over a Sphere Kribo because now that I have attacked with his Red Dragon Ninja, I can just destroy it, summon another monster, and more importantly, during the end phase, I would have had to remove this last counter and it would have gone back to him. So instead of doing that, I just destroy it and just hit him for game. No Sphere Kribo. Pretty quick duels. I think probably the longest part of this video was the deck explanation. Overall, I think the deck is really fun. I'm not sure, it's too early to say what kind of impact it's gonna have in the meta, but it doesn't have a clear bad matchup. If you saw Dan's video, you saw how he completely annihilated Hazy Flame, which in my mind was a big counter to the deck. We got a Rex Raptor, full back row, but luckily I'm gonna be able to see that in their next turn. I decide to double Cyclone my recombination device and get rid of the Jurassic World. I feel like getting rid of the Jurassic World against the Rex is just too important, and a lot of these Rex are just running cards that are gonna lock down your back row, so sometimes it's not worth it to try to go for their back row. He actually has Gyoku right there, which is what I was talking about. 2 enemy controllers though. He attacks into my Alien Grade anyway, so he takes some damage. I pick up my Telepath so I can snipe away the Gyoku, and the reason why I do that is because I can force activate this enemy controllers right now. by attacking with my Alien Overlord and my Telepath, because you know he has 4 counters, his attack is gonna go down super low, and he would lose if he takes the damage. Instead, I keep my Cell Recombination device so that if he summons another monster, I can you know, I can take care of that monster as well. That's why I decided to snipe away the Gyoku. We see another Hydrogeddon, activate this in the battle step, goes all the way down to 0, and then just runs into my 800 alien and loses. Pretty funny. He could have econ take, you know, to keep himself alive, but he was still gonna lose next turn. We got a Bandit Keith. Pretty rough hand to begin with, but I was going up against Bujin, so I didn't feel too bad about it. Now this was, I don't know what I would call this play by my opponent. He decides to not attack into my back row. I guess he was afraid of the Wall of Disruption, and you know, he was just gonna wait to use his Centipede next turn. But it was really strange that he didn't try to damage me, and the reason being that after he ends turn, I get to see his entire back row. So had he damaged me there, I wouldn't have been able to know what the back row is, and you know, my play would have been differently. But here I decided to attack with Alien Kid to force one of the enemy controllers, and then I can chain my crop circles. Basically this was all a mind game. I wanted to force either the Rush Recklessly or the enemy controllers. I figured he would use enemy controller first, and once I summon my Alien Warrior, he would see that I'm trying to crash. He would value the enemy controller over the Rush Recklessly, and that's playing into my plan. So he does just that. My warrior gets destroyed. I get 2 counters on that Yamato, so now I can steal it. Give me that. And he decides to save his enemy controller. So right there he had a full back row, and I still was able to, you know, take his Yamato. I summoned my Alien Warrior, decided to storm away the Wall of Disruption, because I'm not worried about, you know, the enemy controller or the Forbidden Chalice. Now this is the reason why I did this right here, activate recombination device onto my own Overlord, was so that I could guarantee a monster next turn to go for game. That's why I decided to activate it during his end phase. I'm able to search a monster, and now I can win over that enemy controller, or try to before he rage quits. And this last one was against Ojamago burn deck, and this was all mind scan. I was able to win this because of mind scan. You know, not the greatest matchup for aliens, since there's nothing to put counters on. But it's an okay matchup, or at least it went okay for me. Again, I knew I wasn't gonna steal a monster. I knew I wasn't gonna put counters on anything, so I just, you know, storm away the back row, hit him for 1800. We see the Ojama token into Lava Golem right away. Sets a Massive Morph and a Wall of Disruption. So I decided to force the Massive Morph first, because next turn I can summon my Alien Overlord and then force that Wall of Disruption. He's in a top deck situation. He actually ends up picking up Temple of the Mines. So my plan changes into summoning Alien Warrior, because now his Wall of Disruption is useless. Even if he activates it, he's still gonna be damaged 1000. I summon my Overlord. His fuel spell actually gave me the win, because obviously my attack was under 1000. So yeah, get wrecked, Chaz. Not the Chaz though, the Chaz is my boy. But that's gonna be it for this video. Again, you know, if you keep up with most Duel Links tours, this is probably the 3rd alien deck of the day for you. So hope you're not fed up. It's a really fun archetype. It's very cheap, so it's accessible to everyone that wants to try it out, and I definitely recommend that you do. I think it's a great deck. But thank you guys so much for watching. As always, like, comment, and subscribe if you want. Join my Discord if you haven't, the link will be down in the description, along with my PayPal link if you guys want to support my content, support my channel. Really appreciate that. And until next time.